Hi, welcome to Richard Review's Dune 2021. Dune 2021 is based on the 1965 book by Frank Herbert. And this stars an absolutely massive ensemble cast. We're talking Oscar Isaac. I can't even remember them all. I've got a list here. Timothy Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Dave Bautista's in it, Stellan Skarsgård, Josh Brolin, Jason Momoa, Zendaya, Javier Bardem. This really is a 10 out of 10 cast. The plot basically stems around families warring for control of this planet, Arcades? I can't even remember the name. Oh, the planet's called Dune. And that really tells you how much they're throwing you straight into the jargon straight away. You've got various planet names, you've got names of all the families, and everyone is basically vying for control of this planet. So Timothy Chalamet plays Paul Atreides, the easiest name to remember in the whole film. Timothy Chalamet really shines in this film. I think he continues to be one of those young stars who's probably got a pretty bright future ahead of him. Not that he's done too badly for himself so far. We've previously seen him shine in indie-style dramas such as Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird. He even dabbled in Interstellar with Christopher Nolan, but this is really his big opportunity to lead a blockbuster, and yeah, this really is a blockbuster film. For every dollar that was spent on it, you can really see it on the screen. The film is absolutely gorgeous, and that really leads me to say that if you get a chance to see this, you need to see this on the big screen, for sure. Denis Villeneuve, sorry if I've butchered his name, does an absolutely stunning job of making every single shot really just look like an artistic painting. Even characters just standing, talking, it's framed in really interesting ways, and the cinematography throughout is beautiful, which is lucky because really, for maybe 2/3 of this film, there is a lot of standing around talking. How much you enjoy a lot of this film is really going to depend on, can you get invested in these characters, and do you understand all their motivations? Other great standouts, Rebecca Ferguson is obviously always amazing, supporting her husband, supporting in-film husband Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac I'm a massive fan of. Really enjoyed him, although massively underutilised in the likes of the recent Star Wars. I think he's shown time and time again that this man needs to be leading more big films. I think basically across the board the entire cast is amazing. Everyone is really committed to the tone of the film. Now, it's not one that's going to be light and enjoyable really. This is a very intense film. There's a lot of plotting, a lot of deep conversations between characters, and not really much levity between anyone. No one really cracks a joke much apart from Jason Momoa, who obviously always looks like he's having a great time, and brings his usual big-hearted bro energy to this film. And really, the relationship between him and Timothy Chalamet is really where you're going to see some of the lightest moments in this film. Otherwise, it's pretty dark, and I don't want to say dour, but yeah, maybe a bit dour. It's very downbeat and very considered. Every single conversation is very deep, but the entire cast is fully committed to what's going on screen. No one really looks like they're phoning it in. Stellan Skarsgård, took me ages to work out who that was. He's the Baron in this film, someone who is really pulling a lot of the strings, and man, the makeup that guy must have gone through. Really fair to say that he captivates any scene he's in. Really entertaining to watch throughout. The rest of the supporting cast are all A-listers across the board. At times the film is really slow, especially early on. You're not really going to be jumping from action piece to action piece early on, and the film just throws you into the deep end and immediately wants you to get to grips with finding your own way through and trying to work out who is everyone in this and what is their relationship. I will say that despite its slow moments, when the film kicks off, the film really does kick off. This film really screams to be seen on the biggest screen you can find. The action pieces are just absolutely gorgeous. Explosions really pop, and probably some of the best cinematography I've seen this year. Not that this year has really been a highlight for films coming out. We've not really had much to dive into. Some of the landscapes, because they are so fantastical, really just elevate it to the next level. The thing with this film, they're doing this as a part 1 of 2, and it really feels like this is the first part. This is not a complete film on its own. The film just kind of ends, really. And you do get that sense that there is all that setup and laying down the plot so that part two can really deliver on everything that's come before it. I don't really know if you could recommend this film on its own, to be honest. It's really going to depend on how much part two sticks the landing. Can it pay off all the political machinations that have gone on so far? Because otherwise, all you've got is 2.5 hours of people talking with maybe 10 minutes of amazing looking explosions. So, overall, is it something I can recommend? Probably not to everyone. I think there's going to be a lot of people out there who actually are a little bit bored by some of the conversations. I could almost feel myself nodding off a little bit as well. But if you're invested in the source material, then I'm sure it's an absolute no-brainer. You've got a cast who's giving it 110%. You've got unreal production values in terms of the cinematography and the sound design. And everyone is just absolutely acting out of the park. There is no one here that you're like, you're really letting down your scene. I think really it comes down to how invested can you get in the story and the characters that are in this world, and also how much can part two stick the landing. It really doesn't feel complete on its own. This really does feel like a part one, and given how much story there is to get your head around, I don't really see how they could have got it down into less than 2 films. You need all that setup, but what that means is that this film is sort of struggling to stand on its own a little bit. However, the visuals and the sound design really are incredible, and as a cinematic experience of going to the cinema again, maybe if you've not been that much in the last 2 years, is really something to behold. I almost feel like it would be worth recommending this film once the second film has come out and you're able to watch them both back to back so that one story immediately feeds into the other and you get an idea of how the story develops. So that about wraps up my review of Dune. All in all, I think there's a lot to like. I think there's a lot to endure as well. But for a lot of sci-fi fans out there, this is going to be a long time coming, really. If anyone's seen it, let me know what they think in the comments below and catch you in the next one.